years ago. There was a flaw in SAML security assertion markup language, which is used by everything, by the way, including Canvas. So let's give this a try. Let me see if I have SAML Raider in this burp. If I don't, I'll have to add it. If I go to extensions, I don't have it, I'm going to add SAML Raider. It turns out security assertion markup language is used by a lot of sites, and the original motive, there were like 12 common implementations, and like 10 of them had serious security flaws. So let me see if I can find this thing. Where are they all? Burp extensions. BAP store, here we are. SAML Raider. Let me see if I can do this, and if I have too much trouble, I'll put it off till next time. Now I want to add this to burp. Here it is, install, there we are. And these are like Firefox extensions. They're written by people, random people, and added to burp. This one is pretty cool. So now, if I go to the proxy, and I clear this old stuff, then we can see how SAML works. So let me shove this over to the side a bit, and let's get the browser here. All right, and let's go to samlol.samsclass.info. And maybe it's HTTP. Wrote this a long time ago. Yeah, all right. So you're not logged in, and there's a user one, password, and user two password are the accounts. So here right now I've not logged in, but I noticed the URL. I'm now at sp.samsclass.info. This is how SAML works. You have a service provider, which is maybe a company that wrote a game or something, and they want to use some third-party authentication service. So the service provider is maybe a small company, but when you log in, they go to an authentication provider, which is a different process. So now they've gone to ID provider, and here you put in your username and password. So the one I have was user1 and password PWD, and I can log in at the identity provider. And now the identity provider lets me in. I'm logged in as user1, but I'm not administrator. I want to become administrator. And you can do it because of a flaw in SAML. And here's how it goes. So here is the process. You load, you're here viewing the page at the service provider. Then you go to the identity provider and you send a request up here. And Java Web Tokens work similarly. So here, I sent a GET up here with a SAML request, which is this long blob of encoded stuff. And the server replies with and the SAML request, I think, includes username and password, maybe not. Then it's going to log into my next stage. I get a response, and then I think the next one, I'm going to send it the data here. Check the request. So I tell it I want to log in, and eventually down here, I'm going to send up my username and password. This post, there we are. Now I'm sending up my username and password. And when it verifies the username and password, it replies with this giant blob of SAML response. That is my authentication token. And so, after I have that, now I'm approved. And so I go back to the service provider, and now it knows who I am because of that SAML process. And the point is, what typically happens is the service provider is kind of written poorly by amateurs, small company. The identity provider is somebody like Facebook or something, professional and good. And so it is possible that even though the identity provider works properly, the service provider doesn't really validate everything they should. So there's an attack here, and let me log out, and here's the instructions how to do this one. I don't think I put this in the class this time. I just wanted to use it as a demo because you'll be doing things like this inside the Web Security Academy, but I thought this one was kind of fun. So with SAML Raider, you can easily fix this. So you go to the purple requests are ones where SAML data is detected, and you have to find the post that sent your data up with username and password, which is this one I just found here. And that's the one where you send it to, I think this is the one where I send it to SAML Radar. Yeah, okay. So here's the post that sent up my username and password. I think, I may not, going to the identity provider. Yeah, this one. This is the one that sent my username and password up. Okay. So I think I'm going to send this to SAML Radar. And I may not be able to do this on the fly. Let me find out. I want to get, so I want to attempt to request, so I go to log out, turn, I had to do it with interception, that's right. You can't do it with repeat. You have to do it with interception. So I log out. Now I'm going to log in again, but I'm going to turn on interception. We haven't used this before, so it's a good thing to know. First thing we always did here was turn off interception. So proxy, intercept. I said proxy, intercept, turn it on. Now, when I log in, it intercepts this. And so let me shove this to the side. All right, I want to log in. So I'm going to forward this one and forward this one. Okay, now I can put in my username and password, user1 and password. All right, and let me just check my instructions. Click login and forward. The next request is the one you want. That's right. I'm just remembering this. I've done this a lot of times, but it's a little bit touchy. So I want to, there, here. All right. So now I forward this one. Oh, I have to log in. Okay. Now it's trying to log in. I forward this one. And now I'm getting the response, which is containing the token. And now click the SAML Radar tab in the lower pane here. Request. Oh, this is some Google thing. I have to forward that. This Google junk is going on in the background there. This is the one I want. It has a SAML Radar tab. There we are. And now you can modify the SAML response. And so down here, it has decoded that blob of data. That data is base64 encoded XML. And there it is, if I can only get this thing to move. For some reason, it is not letting me move that thing. It's not letting me move this thing. I'm not having any luck with the GUI on burp here. I may have to, channel message info. Nope, it's determined to only let me see a tiny little piece of it down here. There's the data we need. I remember this is the problem. It doesn't like my big font. Anyway, the point is this one here, you can find the UID value in this data and you can modify it. Somewhere in this mess is the user identifier and you can search for it, UID. There it is, that's one of them. And I can find the next match. All right, nope. All right. I want to find the UID, which is user1. It should look like that. See if I can search for UID.
Can you temporarily shrink the font?
Well, that would be nice if I could figure out how to do it. I think it's somewhere in the settings. User interface. It's my display. There. Yeah, maybe I can do it. All right. Let's see if that does any good. Now, how do I get back to where I was? Okay. Maybe, will it let me do it yet? Well, it's a little bit better. Anyway, there's UID. Attribute name is UID. And so there it is, user1. That's the point. I want to change that to admin. And the point is, if I change the response to admin, but I don't change the cryptographic signature, which is in here, then I might fool the service provider because what you're getting a response from the server saying, I'm the admin and here's the cryptographic proof. But if they had trouble implementing the library, they might not verify the cryptographic proof. They might just believe me that I'm the admin. And it turns out, anyway, it's too much painful to do it here. If you do it if you change this and send that to the service provider, it will not be fooled. It's not that stupid. But it is stupid enough if you just remove the signature, which is an attack inside here. So the first time you do it, it's going to fail. But then if you remove the signature, which is, there's going to be a Remove Signatures button up here somewhere. Remove signatures, there. This will remove the signature entirely. And now you change the user ID to admin. So let's find it. Yep, there's the user ID. And there's the user one. I change it to admin. There, and now I just turn off intercept and let it go through. And now I end up winning. Now I'm logged in as admin. So this is I used to have a project where you practice doing this with that thing. I'm not sure it's worth it anymore because this became pretty well known, and I think they finally fixed all the frameworks. But anyway, this is the kind of thing that happens. The problem, like all the attacks we've talked about, it's from a difference in responsibility. And the service provider will read like the Facebook documentation, and they say, you send your request, you get the reply. They use OAuth instead of SAML, but it's similar, and they often don't really understand it and don't really implement it correctly. So even though there is a possibility to have strong cryptography, they don't really do it right.
But you modified the post packet, right?
I modified that. They sent me a SAML token to include, and that token included my username and the proof of it, which they would run some routine to verify, but their routine to verify had a pass-through vulnerability, so if the signature was missing, it would not check it.
So the post packet is from the verification service?
Yes. Yeah,
So
you
come back to the original server?
the service provider, yes. This is what happens. The service provider gets a token from the identity provider, and that says, here's the data you're supposed to have, like username, email, things like that, and here's the cryptographic proof. And you should run this function we give you to verify the proof. But they might not bother to run that function or implement it correctly.
It's the service provider that screw up, not the identity.
Yes, exactly. The service provider is more likely to screw up than the identity provider. Yeah, and that's the problem with these services. So that's SAML, and JSON Web Tokens is another similar one. JSON Web Tokens, you'll see it a lot in the projects. It's another blob of data, and it's got a header, a payload, and a signature, all in a big blob of data, and it has various encryption methods allowed. And if it's all encrypted properly, it's very secure, but you can in fact have no signature required and other flaws. So you'll see this in the BERP projects in the Web Security Academy, ways to mess with the JSON tokens. All right, that's what I wanted to show you.